to present to you all on the layer by layer opportunities. While we talk about layer by layer opportunities, first and foremost, for having to print precise medical models, what does it take? Yes, there are 3D printing technologies that could support medical models fabrication. But now, there has to be quite a lot of challenges with which the expected output has to meet a certain requirement, for which Stratasys has solutions. These have been researched and developed. The pioneers in 3D printing technology have been able to introduce the medical models or the medical model 3D printers, which are known as J5 Medijet and J750 Digital Anatomy. I'm going to take you all through with a brief overview on the additive process, well before a couple of slides on the corporate profile. As introduced by Professor Rupinder, I would like to take you through with this corporate profile of Designtech Systems. We are the VARs for additive manufacturing technologies and software solutions that we have been able to present to various clients. When we talk about VARs for CAD/CAM, CAE, and PLM and software solutions, they are exclusive to a certain set of virtual and digital data creation. But additive manufacturing technologies are something more in realistic forms that we are able to print parts. We also have our engineering service domain, and we cater to quite a lot of OEMs in the process of selling softwares, CAD platforms, and additive manufacturing technologies. In today's agenda, we are going to look at a brief on the layer by layer additive process and then the Stratasys additive manufacturing technologies. But predominantly, we are going to look into medical applications and medical device manufacturing. A short brief in terms about the capabilities of working with J5 series of printers and the digital anatomy printer of Stratasys. Case studies, and then we'll get into question and answer sessions. So here comes the snapshot. The bottom row has Stratasys for polymer-based 3D printing technologies, SLM for selective laser melting, and SolidScape for wax 3D printing outputs. So quickly moving on, an overview of the layer by layer principle that is being followed in the additive manufacturing. Let us quickly take a look at the overview. There are multiple definitions which talk about additive as a technology, but primarily when we use the term layer by layer deposition or layer by layer addition of material in principle to realize a physical object from a digital data is called as additive manufacturing. Or you can also rephrase it as a process of making a three-dimensional solid object by adding material layer upon layer. Well, so joining materials in order to make physical objects, layer upon layer. As you see the animation running, that is the principle of additive manufacturing, and all of you all know about the subtractive techniques. Here we remove undesired stock in order to retain what is desired, but in additive, it is a layer by layer principle. Now, in this layer by layer principle, the process is very simple and ideated. When we talk about the process, it's a three-step simple process to work with. We pre-process, we produce a product using a 3D printer, and then we post-process. Post-process is removal of temporary materials or support structures. Now today, in this three-step simple process, the capability of the software and the versatility of the 3D printer comes into the fore. Reason, while targeting the medical vertical, what is very crucial, what is very important here is we need to have the capabilities of the software and the hardware associated along with the material that goes in for 3D printing. Only then we'll be able to realize the complexity is what nature has given us. Nature's creation is so very vast. How would you be able to reproduce what nature has given? How would you be able to reproduce anatomies that are well within your body? It's something very interesting that we're going to look into. I also request at the outset all users to use your headphones, and I hope that the audio and the video that I will be playing in the presentation will be able to reach you all out. So let us begin to know about Stratasys very briefly. Stratasys, the 3D printing solutions company, has pioneered additive manufacturing well before we thought about what could be done. When the subtractive world was influenced with limitations in terms of manufacturing designs can only go for subtractive manufacturing. But the realm of printing any complex data in quick turnaround time has been revolutionized by Stratasys as a 3D printer manufacturer. So let's quickly get to realize for the last 31 plus years, there are dual headquarters of Stratasys based in Eden Prairie of US. We have the FDM technology introduced 31 years ago. And then the resin-based technology, which is from Rehovot of Israel. These are two core complementary technologies. Even otherwise, there is no looking back at Stratasys. Stratasys have been able to add more and more technologies that could support beyond the realm of what was thought about a few years ago. For well over the last 3 decades, industries and the medical world have been able to work with Stratasys to realize more and more complex anatomies that could support the medical world. So, well, there have been multiple patents that have been granted and some are pending. And also as a publicly traded company on NASDAQ, Stratasys enjoys the largest market share in the world for additive manufacturing technologies. So while I talk about the two core complementary technologies, one is fused deposition modeling, which is the patented real FDM technology from Stratasys. Well, after the patent expiry, there have been quite a lot of extrusion principles that have been followed by companies and organizations to have the triple F technology introduced. Triple F for fused filament fabrication that have been introduced, following the footsteps of what the patented Stratasys technology is. However, the real FDM technology from Stratasys is way ahead in terms about meeting the required repetitiveness and the quality of the outputs, along with which is the material jetting technology called as PolyJet, which could mix multiple materials. Today, you can mix 7 different materials. The digital profiles of mixing materials gives you enablement to have complex medical models that could be printed out, layer upon layer. You can have anatomy printed out with the thymoma or the cancerous zone with different colors and different material properties, thereby enabling surgeons and the medical fraternity to realize the true benefits of working with additive as a technology. Because 3D printing is the only possibility for having complex medical anatomies that you can print. Subtractive techniques would never be able to reach out over there until and unless they are going to be simple profiles or surfaces. But the complexity of technology, let us remember this. However, while I talk about Stratasys, they also have the selective absorption fusion technology, which is a powder bed fusion technology. We also have from Stratasys product lines, Origin, which is a digital light processing technology, and the RPS Neo, which is a stereolithography apparatus. All these have been new additions, along with the two core complementary technologies. Well, let's move on. Beyond the patented technologies, a little bit of elaboration in terms about FDM for durable, accurate, and more importantly, repetitive and reliable quality outputs is what you realize. And you also have the flexibility to select and choose various industrial grades of thermoplastics subjective to the next level of application. But on PolyJet, you have very fine features that you can capture. You can work with this 3D printed technology with an average of around 30 micron layer thickness, or you can have fine layers such as 14 micron layer thickness. We call it as an iMix with multi-materials along with colors. Now these are colors which are very important in order to analyze and understand various anatomies and the areas that needs to be tutored among the faculty as well as carried forward to the next level of medical applications. You can mix opaque, clear, opaque, rigid, flexible, and there are multiple biocompatible materials that could be sterilized and carried forward. That is the PolyJet technology. So in FDM, the principle of extrusion using a filament by a heated tip, which has been mounted in the heated block. It's as simple as such. Drive wheels drive the filament from the material cartridge into the head block or the heater block zone, which is a very small area wherein the industrial grade of thermoplastic filaments get converted into a semi-molten state before they get extruded layer upon layer to very precisely print complex anatomies, complex medical models, and so on and so forth. The support cartridge gives enablement to work with hands-free support removal techniques because there are quite a lot of materials that are associated with soluble supports. Whereas the inkjet technology that could support gives enhancement and enablement to have complex multi-material outputs, as I mentioned. There is ultraviolet light, which converts from the liquid to a solid state so that the photopolymerization happens during the print process. So you have the flexibility to work with either single materials or combine multiple materials. The inkjet heads can dispense very fine droplets of resins. Now these resin droplets can go as low as 14 micron layer thickness. So you could imagine how fine that these resolutions would be able to enable you to realize physical outputs. Now let's move on to the subject matter of 3D printing in the medical industry. With that brief overview of the introduction to the Stratasys technologies that support 3D printing, well, there are other technologies that could also support 3D printing in the additive industry, but more so with Stratasys, you have a wider scope of working for medical devices, medical models. So hence, we are looking at driving innovation and adoption by the layer technique. So all that what we aim to realize is, while we talk about multi-material capabilities of 3D printing technology in general, you would be able to print parts that could enable medical faculty to be trained upon. You'll be able to visualize models that are more realistic and more accurate with the combination of materials, and the outcomes turn out so pretty close to what nature has given us. And there is no compromise here. And that's what we are going to see soon. So doctors and hospitals, what do they benefit? And how much do they benefit is what we are going to look at. So 3D printing for medical devices is again somewhere that 3D printers give enablement for medical device manufacturing teams to work on customized and specific to a given application in the medical industry that they could very quickly fabricate devices. So why 3D printing in medical? Again, the question comes back. Let us say that if we have to list out a certain set of medical solutions, what is that we are going to look at? Surgical planning, and there are quite a lot to talk about, whether it's going to be teaching and research, and while we talk about neurosurgery, implantology, orthopedics, personal implants, there's a whole lot that could be addressed with 3D printing as a technology. The power of 3D printing today, let us understand that the application-specific outputs mean that they could meet quite a lot of challenges. What they deliver in terms of value, is immeasurable. So let's talk about patient-specific pre-planning models, rapid prototypes, or tooling aids that support various needs. So the power of 3D printing, while we look at delivering value, physician training, education, and sales demonstration models, all these are great value adds that we have to look at 3D printing. Now, when we look at clinically relevant models for device validation and verification, there's quite a lot when medical devices are getting engineered. Let us look at some of them in quick turnaround time. But more so, let us also understand on what are the challenges that today's academic medical centers, hospitals, and medical OEMs face. This is an area that we need to actually look into. Because in order to address all these challenges, how does additive manufacturing or 3D printing solution support is going to be our learning today. Now, more importantly, let us take a look at some of the imaging outcomes. The CT and the MRI scans. The scope of imaging and CT scans are limited. Reason being, it depends upon the surgeon's understanding in terms of 3 dimensions of the challenges or of the outcomes from CT and MRI. So if they have to rely on the CT and MRI data, the tactile feel, and more importantly, when we talk about the best procedures, a surgeon needs to get a feel of it, make measurements, decide upon what needs to be done next in physical form, which adds greater value, a deeper understanding, and a better outcome in terms of surgery. So these are some of these scopes, but more importantly today, if we look at healthcare, the most important aspect over here is healthcare is always measured by quality outcomes. There is no compromise at all. So how do we support? How does 3D printing support? From 2D images, so understanding complex challenges becomes the limiting factor. So can we provide them 3D outputs that meet more demanding applications in the medical industry? Yes, that's exactly what we talk. And how are patients going to be apprised about what their conditions and situations are? With a 3-dimensional output, yes, there's better physician as well as patient understanding in terms about providing solutions. Now, device manufacturers also save on time as well as costs, which means specific to a customized requirement today, devices are being manufactured. That's very, very important to be understood. These are not generic tools and devices that medical industries manufacture. They are specific to a customer's need. Customers are patients here. The surgeons are someone who decide upon how beneficial these devices could give them enablement in order to save human lives. The value of life is measured with the outcomes of surgeries that have to be, without any compromise, successful in all cases. So today's current modeling methods are also time consuming, and more importantly, when we look at the traditional processes and the complicated workflow that we all go through, these challenges need to be overcome. When we talk about high cost for model production, how do we overcome all this? Complex anatomical models manufacturing becomes a big challenge. As I mentioned, without additive, it is impossible rather. So let's quickly understand more in terms about how does medical industry had value in terms of using additive as a technology for patient-specific anatomies, etc. And simplifying the workflow also becomes important for 3D printer manufacturers. The workflow simplification gives enablement that there is no additional challenges for hospitals and the medical practitioners to use additive as a technology. Let us also understand that in today's world, while we look at accurate representation of the target anatomies using cadavers becomes limited. Reason, cadavers don't truly represent what the live anatomy is all about. And then they also have a shelf life. What about the storages? You require space. Storage becomes too very expensive. Also, when you talk about using animals, there are quite a lot of ethical concerns. Let us give a serious thought about how to overcome all this. While we talk about ethical concerns and the challenges using cadavers for training medical students and faculty, it is more precise to work with models that make a true representation of what nature has provided us. So let us also get over these challenges which comes along with all these concerns. So how can we create medical models with accuracy? Here there is no compromise. If it is a 1:1 scale, it has to be 1:1. There's no deviation. It has to be precise, significantly less handling, which means that post-printing, you need to have very little handling in order to present to the surgeon so that he can carry it forward to the next level of application. So how do we create these medical models? Here comes a 3D printer from Stratasys that supports multi-material and multi-color capabilities. So while we talk about vivid full color, you're able to mix multiple materials together, as I mentioned. So some of the output images that you could see are, some of the tools that you could see, all could be made in quick turnaround time in very little material. And more importantly, the engineering point of involvement in realizing these models is very simplified. And it's a one-step solution. How do we create manufacturing files? How do these manufacturing files get supported by 3D printing? So while we talk about the new standard for planning, education, and testing, let us remember this. The workflow simplification is truly incomparable working with the software and the associated printers that have been introduced by Stratasys. So MediJet is one of the products that could support printing any given anatomy. Whether you want to have the cancerous zone or the thymomas, along with areas that have been good and bad. While we talk about anatomy, the surgeon is the best person who could decide about all these anatomies, or you can have split models. These could enable surgeons to train faculty members outside the operation theater, which means that you're not going to challenge the patient by training your team during a surgical procedure. Instead, out of the OR, you'll be able to train faculty and they can work on extensive hands-on projects. That gives enablement. That gives, in quick turnaround time, they are ready to get into the OR and get started to working and delivering patients with quality outcomes. So these printers come with materials and software, and the hardware's turnaround in quick turnaround time in comparison to the other printers is a much faster. So while we talk about the term much faster to keep pace with today's challenges, how is that we are going to keep pace with today's challenges? Challenges facing healthcare, aging population, rising healthcare costs, and more importantly, when we talk about the spending, which in terms becomes very huge for health, the outcomes have to be definitely supporting whatever the expenses are. How do we overcome all this? Let's hope that you people get to hear this audio as well as the video plays well for all of you. Here is a case wherein the patient walks in and the surgeon explains about the surgical procedures that have been carried upon.
Brooke Hayes was in her 20s when the hip pain started.
And so I stopped doing a lot of things.
Going up and down stairs hurt, walking hurt, no matter what she did, her hips hurt.
Then I was cutting out everything. That's not where I was supposed to be.
She is 70 pounds and had severe deformities affecting her hips with arthritis at a very young age.
Mayo Clinic orthopedic surgeon Dr. Christopher Beauchamp says surgery to fix her hips would be complicated. Standard hip replacement implants wouldn't work. She needed a custom designed surgery and custom designed implants.
And you press print and a three-dimensional model is made.
This is a printing press that takes information from a CT scan and layer by layer prints out a three-dimensional model of the patient's hip joint.
We are now able to take those models and actually do the planned surgical procedure on the patient's model first.
A practice run that increases accuracy during the real procedure. Then they send the model of the patient's joint to a manufacturer who makes custom designed implants.
It's taking very complex reconstructive surgical procedures to a level that it's actually quite a lot easier to do once we have a reconstructive plan that's firmly in place pre-operative.
I just couldn't wait to heal up so I could go do the things that I've been wanting to do for the last several years.
Back at life thanks to three-dimensional printing technology. For Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Vivian Williams.
So, well, here we could see that one of the challenging arthritis case that has the aid of using diffuse deposition modeling from Stratasys as a technology to support. But well, what is that we have been doing in the country is something that needs to be appreciated and accoladed. Now, while we look at clinical procedures, preparing for a patient-specific anatomy, here we need to thank Dr. H.S. Bedi and Professor Rupinder Singh and the entire team who have been instrumental in working on certain clinical procedures with a 3D printed outcome. Let me play this video for y'all. This is a case study from India, and many thanks to Professor Rupinder Singh and Dr. H.S. Bedi.
National Engineering College was started in 1956, and we have around 850 students at BTech level, 150 students at PG level, and about a dozen students as PhD scholars who are doing research in different fields. This manufacturing research lab was started in 2012, and we have state-of-the-art facilities in this lab. Recently, I would like to mention one case. Dr. H.S. Bedi contacted us. So he wanted a 3D image of this lung of that patient, and we did this work free of cost for him.
And my patient was a 23-year-old young man. His parents told me that he had been blue. So his nails were blue, his lips were blue from birth. And for some reason, he had gone to doctor, but he had not been diagnosed. But then when he came to us, we investigated him, we found that he did not have any heart disease. So his heart was normal. It is very rare to have a normal heart and still be blue. To be blue, that means blood was going to the lungs, but instead of going into the lung, where it would have picked up oxygen, it was without picking up oxygen coming back to the heart. Because there was this malformation, there was this mass where the blood was recirculating. That's called the arteriovenous malformation, a pulmonary arteriovenous malformation. Because on the CT scan, it looked like a very complex lesion. There were multiple branches of the artery, multiple branches of the veins, and then in between there was one tissue which was being bypassed. And we could not, an X-ray and the CT scan is a two-dimensional picture. So then we got to know of Professor Rupinder, and we came to know that he was doing some work on the 3D printing.
The doctor approached us with 2D images, which were basically CT scan data. We used that actual data with the consultation with, of course, the medical practitioner, the surgeon. We used the standard commercial softwares for converting that particular DICOM images to the STL file, and those files were actually printed in the SE Print 3D printer.
Now I'll show you the print. So this is the 3D print. And all these branches are exactly as they are in the body. So it is very precise, it is very accurate, and down to a fraction of a millimeter it is. Now if we did not have this view or this knowledge of, here I can know exactly what is the length of this, what is the width of this. But in an actual patient, there is lung tissue on top of it. So to get to there, I will have to dissect blindly. Now because I know exactly how deep it is, I'm not that blind. I'm able to visualize in my brain. This lesion that I'm going to is exactly 1.25 millimeters deep. So I will not damage any tissue. So in conventional surgery, I will be damaging more of normal tissue because I don't know what is lying there. I'll have to dissect it. So we would not have known exactly. I would have needed to go very, very slowly because I could not see through the blood through the lung. But because I could see through, because I had this model in my hand, this was actually present in our operation theatre. So it just took us, I think, about 1.5 hours. Something which would have taken 4 hours. Now, second thing is that because again we had an absolute knowledge of where the artery is, the blood loss was next to nil, maybe about 100 ml. While otherwise blood loss would have been much more, we would have needed maybe 2 units of blood. In this patient, we needed no blood. Now the patient had seen this lesion, so in his mind also he was clear what surgery is being done. And he knew both the advantages of surgery and also the risks. So it's both his parents also. And the moment we clamped this, his oxygen came back above 100, immediately, without doing anything else. So this was a great boon to us, and the patient then recovered. He was wide awake after the surgery was finished, and within 2 days we were able to send him home. And his nails, you will see, are absolutely pink. They were very blue. So it's a great help for the society and moreover the medical fraternity with respect to the 3D printing usefulness. And in future we are taking up such cases.
And after this surgery, we got 3 more cases from PGI Chandigarh of small kids less than 1 year who are having some sort of a blockage in their heart, and they want to print actually the blockage part. So we got a very good active support from the design tech people. Even beyond their contract with us, they extended the support, whether it is for the training for our PhD scholars, for our training staff. And what I can say, the best part is the customer relation that they have maintained with us.
So, hats off to technology, and the future is very bright. I'm sure we will, together, the scientists and doctors and technicians and engineers will work together so that patients, at least I can talk about patients, and patients will have a safer surgery, predictable surgery, and a good further advantages of this.
So, well, many thanks for the adoption and utilization of additive as a technology, that too by Dr. H.S. Bedi, and many thanks to Professor Rupinder Singh for having to engineer the entire process and supporting the medical fraternity to realize the benefits of using 3D printing as a technology for a patient-specific outcome that has enabled not just time-saving, but life-saving. Hats off to your team. And I wish you all more and more success, more and more adoption of the additive technologies. It's a great pride that Indian medical fraternity associated with the engineering team of professors such as Rupinder Singh who have made it possible to carry forward. And we have been talking about this case study to various of our clients, both in India as well as in abroad. And we carry forward the message saying that in India, the adoption of 3D printing for such critical cases has been already explored well over many years ago, and the practice is further nurtured and taught to the faculty and the students. Thank you so much, team. So while we look at furthermore personalized procedure kits, etc., we are looking at patient-specific anatomies, and here again with the fused deposition modeling, you have the tooling outputs. These are molds which are having a titanium mesh. Now, in such complex surgical procedures, when we are looking at a titanium mesh, which can work along with castable biocompatible materials that could be sterilized, and these have been used in surgeries. And then for surgical preparation, again, the capability of the multi-material printer. There's a liver section, which has 2 different sections of the liver, which has been printed out at Cleveland Clinic to aid the live donor liver. And the section and planning has been planned for transplant surgery accordingly. So let's also look at preclinical testing. Now, what are these preclinical testings that have been carried out? How do they enhance product development? While we talk about enhancement of the medical models for their performance, we are looking at something like anatomical models. Now, this is a vascular model which has been printed out, but how do these vascular models really enable that the internal structures are free from any support materials, etc. Now, patient anatomies are so very crucial and critical. The complexity of what nature has given us, if they have to be reproduced in physical form using additive as a technology, we need to also have custom tools that needs to be generated. Here is one such sample which has been given enablement for cleaning as well as for holding out the vascular model. This has been printed at the Jacobs Institute. So more on the fluoroscopic imaging on a 3D printed model. While we talk about fluoroscopic imaging, angiography of the 3D printed artery has been shown here, and more importantly, after you have the entire fluoroscopic data analyzed, you can print them, and also you can insert your veins, which are so very narrow and thin, into the various aneurysms and pass them on in order to have a guided neurovascular intervention. That's more critical over here. And for more durable high strength outputs, here we are using the term high strength outputs, because while we talk about ankle foot orthosis, today's softwares can guide us through where is the weak zone, how could we add more materials, make more enablement in order to have the outcomes to serve better on patient-specific customized models. So well, with FDM, we are having Ultim as a grade of material, both in black as well as in tan. You could see the middle image of the ankle foot orthosis, which has been 3D printed using the FDM technology. One of the technologies that could give enablement to have parts on demand technology, which is also known as the FDM technology from Stratasys, that gives enablement to work with high performance based thermoplastics. These are strong and durable that could stand a lifetime for the patient. And more critical, because reason being that any customization that you would like to work with, as we use the term layer upon layer, you can customize your layer filling methodology with the Stratasys 3D printer. That is very, very exclusive to what you get with the world leaders product line. And moving further on, for relevant training models, I've been talking about relevant training models out of the operation room. Now, let us take a look at neurosurgery. While we talk about neurosurgeries, these are more critical cases. We have to have the various textures of the skin, the bone, and the various other replicas of the anatomy that needs to be a near net outcome, which gives enablement for training medical faculty. Here we have human anatomy scans which have been generated, and from those scans, the pathologies and the other outcomes which have been printed are offered directly for the surgeon to work around with and train. Now, what about the real tissue properties? Well, today with Stratasys technologies, while we use the term multi-material 3D printing, in a single print, you'll be able to have the entire attributes of rigid with tissue properties, all of them printed out in quick turnaround time. This gives enablement to train in any given environment. And more importantly, post-training, you can discard these as general plastics. Reason being that you will always have a digital file and store, which you can recall for the next level of printing or for the next level of training, etc. So here you could see that medical practitioners who have been practicing, students and faculty who get trained with 3D printed models. A very interesting video from Center for Biomedical and Technology Integration. I would want you all to take a look at this particular video to give you a better idea in terms about surgical planning and training.
I'm Professor Dr. Bigness Warren, Professor of Neurosurgery and the head of the Department of Surgery at University of Malaya. I'm also the director of the Center for Biomedical and Technology Integration, or CBMTI. So we were one of the first groups that pioneered the use of 3D printing for training in neurosurgery. When we first started to develop our models, we only had printers that could print in a single material. And the problem with that was we had difficulties mimicking skin and bone and cartilage and mucous membrane and tumor, for instance. Once we got hold of a Stratasys multi-material printer, we were then able to print models which could mimic, for instance, the texture of the nose, the linings of the nose, as well as the more firm and harder tissues at the back of the nose. And this we found very useful
especially when we were wanting to teach our trainees how to handle various issues. One of the issues was color.
I'm Yuvraj Kumar Balakrishnan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at CBMTI. If you look at this particle model here, this is basically done by the C2 machine, which allowed us to print in various different materials, but it was just one color. We then had to basically inject a certain dye into a cavity in order for us to create what's called a tumor.
So the new printer that has come out from Stratasys, the J750, has overcome the problem of color. And this allows us to create models with both texture and color variation, and so mimic actual tissue handling and tissue appearance better for these complex models.
My name is Peppa. I'm a professor of ear, nose and throat in University of Malaya. When you use a 3D model that comes with a tumor or a lesion, you actually replicate a real life situation. So it's very important to have color. You need to see that the bone is white, the mucosa is pink. Only if there's color saturation, then only you know you're in the right plane. So here you have the model of the head based on a patient with pathology, and you're simulating the entire surgery exactly how it is before the surgery itself. So this is exactly like a flight simulator. A pilot who sits and does certain hours in the flight simulator before he gets certified to fly.
The surgeons that train on these models are much better prepared in terms of dealing with complex surgeries, simply because they are able to train and retrain on these models until they perfect certain procedures. And the most important thing here is the model allows the usage of the relatively same equipments that they would be using on the real surgery.
We're also using our 3D printers to develop prototypes of various tools and devices. In addition to that, we've also been developing models to explain to patients about surgery.
The ability to print all this model at one go, put in various different materials with the color in it. All this is only possible with the PolyJet technology.
So that has been a very interesting video. When we look at the capabilities of PolyJet as a technology, they have been using from the very beginning. They are the early adopters to use Stratasys technologies and the PolyJet technology from the very beginning, from a single material to a 3 material, and further to which it is, while we talk about 6 material combinations on the J750, and that is where they have been able to realize for the endoscopy and the other iterations that need to be planned well before surgery have all been trained on the faculty members. So in order to replicate full color multi-texture anatomies, we have the J750 that had given a true representation for CBMTI in order to have outcomes that are too very critical for surgical training procedures, etc. Now, beyond that, while we look at the J750, what is that we are going to look at in terms about what was J750 capable of? J750 was again a printer which was capable to do all texture mapping and the color gradients. As I mentioned, like we can have unmatched product realisms. But today, Stratasys has given out to the medical world a solution that is called as exclusive for digital anatomy solutions. The same J750 comes along with the digital anatomy properties. Now let us take a look at, from visualization to simulation, what is that this printer can really provide. And while we talk about whether it is rapid prototyping, the J750 can meet preclinical validation, testing models, or you can have for the medical device manufacturing, production parts that could be manufactured, or for marketing and for the medical world to demonstrate critical anatomies as medical models. You'll have all on a single platform. Training simulators as seen in the CBMTI video, or the surgical planning procedures, all of which can well be in a single go along with orthotics and bionics. One printer that could answer most of all your requirements are well addressed with Stratasys solutions. So let's quickly take a look at this video.
In a field where innovation saves lives, Stratasys 3D printers printing solutions empower doctors, researchers, and medical device manufacturers to get products into clinical use faster, develop better therapies, and personalize care like never before. By accelerating the pace of innovation and enabling new insights, our 3D printing solutions improve patient care while simultaneously driving profitability at every step in the healthcare delivery value chain. We improve medical innovation and time to market with advanced rapid prototyping. Engineers can create more revisions in less time and quickly advance new designs. We help designers to improve medical devices by enabling realistic, clinically relevant testing on models created from actual patient medical scans. Faster, more reliable test results and better feedback to create the right device. Whether the goal is clinical trial evaluation, initial product commercialization, manufacturing low-volume, high-value parts, or products personalized for the patient, Stratasys Solutions makes production more agile and responsive, without the need for expensive secondary tooling. Stratasys Solutions provides sales teams with dynamic demonstration models, helping communicate to physicians key therapeutic advantages for new innovations, showcasing new medical approaches and products. We elevate staff preparedness and training by making realistic simulators that accurately represent a range of clinical scenarios that create a virtual grand round. We help doctors optimize therapy, improve clinical outcomes, and save time in the operating room by pre-planning surgeries with 3D printed models created from their patients' own imaging studies. With Stratasys 3D printing technology, doctors can improve the fit, form, function, and affordability of orthotics and bionics. We develop the technology and solutions used by healthcare professionals each day to help improve medical care, increase the affordability of products and procedures, and extend the quality of life for everyone around the world. Stratasys, the 3D printing solutions company.
So, well, that has been quite a lot in terms about the medical applications that have been covered in this video. But moving on, in order to have all these printers, the medical fraternity and the medical world need to always stay ahead while we are looking at the market. Now, without having to compromise, and also patient confidentiality matters when it comes to outsourcing the print anatomies, etc. So that's exactly where we talk about how can one upgrade to a 3D printing solution that is more productive. So 3D printers are available. How to select, how to choose a 3D printer that could really be an upgraded solution that could save on time, faster innovations can happen, more importantly, optimal patient care, very precise and realistic models, and highly trained staff. While we talk about all this in a workflow that is well streamlined, that is exactly where we look at solutions that could support and train all our medical fraternity and the medical device manufacturers to have the better edge of working using additive as a technology. So case studies from Dr. Shi Jun. While we talk about the hospital for sick children, here means quite a lot. How does a DAP printer really give enablement? So here we are talking about surgeon skills, and the student skills are actually fine-tuned with these 3D printed art models. Surgical procedures are planned out of the OR, and more importantly, these models are so very helpful in training them. You could see that students are suturing a 3D printed models and planning for surgery well ahead of going and accessing patient anatomies. There you get to see more and more shorter time, lead time to market, and the device manufacturers are having the edge. Once when they have to have customized solution printed, they could optimize and have patient-specific or challenging patient-specific anatomies that have to be supported with devices are planned so that they can also go through the entire lifespan of meeting certain demands and challenges. And as discussed earlier, while talking about there is no risk to any patient, reason being using additive as a technology, there's quite a lot of value add, and that is a credibility that goes along with the introduction of the J750 digital anatomy, full color, multi-material, multi-texture outputs that can catered to ultra-realistic anatomical simulation. Let us remember this. Ultra-realistic anatomical simulation in an office-friendly platform. You don't need to have a factory set up to run these printers. What is the exclusivity of this J750 platform while we are looking at? Yes, there are varied printers that could support additive, as I mentioned before, but there is certain exclusivity while we look at J750 DAP solutions. We have 3 unique materials. I'll take you through with these 3 unique materials, and it's a platform that has been well supported for cost reduction. When you're going to make a comparison for cadavers or animal studies that have been covered, the cost of a 3D printed output is quite a lot, phenomenal savings. And more importantly, when you're looking at a bone output, GI or a blood vessel output, you'll have everything possible with this printer. Because here you can work with voxel-based engine. What is this voxel-based engine? Let us take a quick look. It can create anatomical structures that are used in various applications. Voxel, we are defining from the 2D spectrum of images that we are going to talk about, layer by layer, we are converting that two-dimensional layer adhesion of material, layer upon layer. When the term adhesion comes into place, the properties of materials laid on 2D are reflected as an outcome in 3D. That's exactly what we are seeing in 4D printing. And the process overview is very simple. Image acquisition, DICOM generation, segmentation in order to create the STL data. And while we talk about the CAD software, they can prepare the files to print. And using GrabCAD as a software that is associated with a 3D printer that goes along in preparing a print files prior to printing is known as GrabCAD software. Now, looking at the training models, we conduct imaging on CT, MRI, and ultrascan images. But the next step is exporting them as DICOM images. And working along with surgeons, as we have heard about the case studies, quite a lot of them in the videos, they talk about how do we segment. We have to remove quite a lot of noise shells. And then segmenting the exact required pathology or the anatomy is very, very crucial. Finally, generation and combining the STLs together that could associate in the GrabCAD print to assign materials so that you can print complex geometries in quick turnaround time. Some of the softwares that come along, softwares for viewing the DICOM images. There are also free softwares, but precisely we also work with Materialize, wherein we use Mimix as a software for more complex and a consolidated solution working for medical anatomy printing, etc. Let's quickly take a look on this present scenario wherein we are looking at the solution of the J750 anatomy. Very, very crucial to understand here is what goes in is the software, the combination of software and the material that goes in onto the hardware is all that combination that gives you the derivatives to meet more demanding anatomies. So looking at the software part of it, we have GrabCAD print that could actually take up a DICOM file and then give you various areas of the bone. Now today, while we talk about the bone marrow, while we talk about a hard bone or the spongy bone, all the software could dissect and then plan accordingly. You need not have to have separate shells for these. A scanned image and then moved on to the DICOM. Finally, when the segmentation of the zone needs to be printed, the software can understand. How does it understand? What is its choice? The anatomy selection has to happen. As the animation is running, when the heart as an anatomy in the family has been taken up along with the myocardium, it also asks for various selections of softer or harder that it should be. And more importantly, after you select the attributes, it also gives you various selection processes that gives enablement that once when these keyed in data has been supported, you'll have a voxel-based slicer processing that has been carried out by GrabCAD that gives you an output which will give you vessel walls. You'll have reinforcements that you can plan ahead with. You can also have the myocardium and the vessel walls differentiated with hard and soft zones. Now, a video which speaks about voxel 3D printing. Let's carefully take a look at this particular video because this is very instrumental in having some of the anatomies with are so well supported by GrabCAD from Stratasys. Let's take a look at this. How does and what is voxel 3D printing?
What is a voxel? Let's start with the pixel. Every 2D image your eye see is made up of tiny pixels. Different colors working together to create new colors, textures, and patterns. If we were to take one of these pixels and extrude it in 3D, we would have a volumetric pixel, better known as the voxel. Voxels can have specific color properties similar to pixels, but also can be given specific material properties as they are tangible objects. For example, they can be flexible or rigid, opaque or transparent. Voxels are more powerful when they work together, combining and composing an unlimited range of material properties to create new, more complex composite materials and achieving the creation of objects with properties like never before. The design abilities possible in 2D are now possible in the world of 3D printing, but it's about more than just color. It's about textures, transparency, new structures, new materials, and even programming materials behavior from the micro scale to macro. Combining these elements into your design at the voxel level enables purposeful innovation. Purposeful innovation that translates to durometer for high-rise buildings that remain standing during an earthquake. Allowing aircraft wings to flex to enable more efficient flight. Creating digital anatomy that reflects the patient's exact anatomy inside and out and plans more successful surgery. Even enabling a brighter, more vivid future for art, design, and animation. The future is fabrication-aided design. With GrabCAD Voxel Print, Stratasys provides the capability. You program the future.
That's a great statement from Stratasys while we look at the voxel 3D printing, because it meets quite a lot of demanding vertical applications, multiple vertical applications beyond medical. So the materials, what are these? Like, let us quickly take a look at what these materials are. When we talk about the J750, this CBMTI video which speaks about printing various nose structures, etc., all of these were possible because we were working with CMYK, cyan, yellow, magenta. Now we talk about CMYK along with black. We also add that the PolyJet slicer can combine these material and give us a near net RGB value, red, green, blue values, that in turn gives us true representations, but not very fine or very close anatomy representations. So you had color, you had multi-material, you had high resolution, but what was lacking beyond that is something that we are going to look at. So the representation with cyan, yellow, magenta, black, and clear is not sufficient. So Stratasys have revolutionized with the introduction of the J750 DAP printer that could mimic properties of the flesh, fat, bone, and more importantly, when we talk about tissue connectivity and the skin, all these can be a true representation. The digital anatomy slicer can give you outputs wherein you will be able to see that the anatomy types are being measured in true value for the medical applications and for the surgical preparations that go on with the medical faculty. So this is crucial. The material that goes in, the software plays a very, very important role. So tissue matrix is one of the materials. Surgeons could use a printed output that could mimic very close to what the properties of the soft tissues of the heart are. And that is exactly where you get to see that students are suturing a heart section on a 3D printed model. Now, in comparison to this particular material of Agilis, what we are talking about, we are using the term Shore 00 value, which is extra soft. That could mimic very, very close to properties, and that is possible with the combination of Agilis. In case if there have to be different Shore values that needs to be digitized, there is a combination of Agilis as a material, which is a soft material, combined along with the medical grades of materials that give you combinations and take you along with the higher values of Shore as desired. And what else? We have the gel support material. What is this gel support material? How are 3D printed complex internal structures cleared of those support materials. Remember, as I mentioned in 3D printing, all overhanging features will require a temporary support material. And that has been addressed with the PolyJet gel support material. So bone matrix is again another material which gives you strong, but yet you'll have the shape memory for having flexible outcomes. And that's exactly how the bone models are getting fabricated using these J750 DAP solutions. So very quickly, in order to understand on the digital anatomy, the software, the materials, they play a very, very crucial role in order to give you enablement to achieve, in principle, outcomes that could mean quite a lot to the medical world.
For our fifth model, I'd like to take a look at this wishbone structure. It's exactly like you did after a Thanksgiving dinner if you're in the United States. The structure of it is comprised primarily of very pure white material, actually. You can actually see there's a very thin outline kind of on the exterior of this. If I hold it in the correct orientation, so it's kind of like a clear outline where there's less white material. That's actually our pure bone matrix material. Bone matrix at its core is a clear material. There's no color added to it. After that, we're going to get a little bit deeper into the model, and we're going to see some Vero Pure White. That's our white material there, followed by on the interior of this, we'll have a complex structure comprising of Vero Pure White and tissue matrix material and support 706 material. What I'm going to do here is I'll give you guys a demonstration. If this were an actual wishbone, trying to break it apart. Unfortunately, I will not be making any wishes today. There isn't somebody to pull it apart with me due to COVID-19. So we'll go ahead here and pull it. You're going to see that it doesn't break. Typically, we consider PolyJet material to be very, very brittle. With this material, it is not nearly as brittle as what we think of when we think of just base Vero material. It's just going to bend. It's not going to necessarily exactly mimic the properties of a wishbone because we do not have a wishbone setting within GrabCAD print yet. Maybe one day we'll see.
So that's been quite interesting because the evolution of additive manufacturing has given way, and statisticians have to be credited for having to realize the true potential benefits of working on the J750 DAP, because that's exactly how this wishbone structure, in fact, when he's trying to flex it as much as possible, is still so very strong and agile. And that's very interesting. That really gives more scope. This is to give you an overview in terms about when we talk about materials, what is the strength and the factor of durability when it comes with 3D printed outputs. So 3D printing has evolved in a big way. Here we are having solutions that could mix and match multiple materials. And finally comes the gel support material. What is the gel support material? Let's quickly take a look at this gel support material. It is a very silent video which talks about the GI aneurysms which are cleared of the internal support structure because you're using a gel-like support structure. Here you could see that the medical faculty member is injecting a colored solution that is actually clearing off the internal gel matrix material, and you'll have the pathway completely cleared out. And with a little bit of pressure, while we talk about easy removal of supports from vascular structures, it's very crucial. So there are other areas that have been well addressed by the J750, which I'm not going to dwell too much upon. So when we talk about tumors, there are encapsulated tumors, unencapsulated tumors, rigid tumors, and soft tumors. You can name it. The medical world can have the joy of working with DAP as a solution because across this platform, you'll have various anatomies that you can combine and print. There's no limitation, not just you have one of the parts, one of the tumors, or few of the tumors that you need to assign. It's a printer that could give you enablement to nest multiple medical models for a single print. And well supported, here you have the digital anatomy software hardware that plays a very important role. Well, this is an hardware that could combine. You can combine to have any model that you want to print along with the medical models. That's a flexibility. So it's no limiting factor. You're an organization which would like to support medical anatomy printing along with device manufacturing, you can go ahead with. There's no limiting factor. So the printer's capability of recreating all that what the anatomy needs and the medical model requirements, including the pathologies, as I mentioned, for imaging studies, can all be achieved in a single push of a button. biomechanically realistic models, highly functional. While we talk about highly functional, some of the videos that the Wishbone could talk about of its strength, etc., can mean quite a lot. The heart models that have been printed out, wherein suturing has been planned by the Sick Children Hospital team by Dr. Shi Jun and his members, are a great example. So without any constraints, that's very important. Wherever in any part of the world, using these hardwares gives you enablement to have cost-effective solutions. That is exactly how you will be able to have your anatomical presets rolled out in all these three unique digital materials. Ultra realistic outputs, which really mean that biomechanical realisms and anatomical simulations can be carried out. And more importantly, the surgeon can feel and respond like the real thing. No more looking back at cadavers, no more looking at animals in order to have and plan your surgical preparations done or for the faculty training. Clinical evaluations and validations happen with very, very quick turnaround time, and more importantly, huge savings in terms of cost reduction. So speed options, visual applications, you can name it. 7 materials that can go and quite a lot when we look at the product details of the printer, which we can definitely look at a later station. But device manufacturers also have very critical, as I mentioned, the vascular anatomy printing is too very critical. Here we are having the washing stations that have been developed, which means that device manufacturing plays a very important associative role in order to have and meet the anatomy printing as a support structure. So before support cleaning and after support cleaning, these are the two images of the vascular structure that have been printed. Some of the use case studies that have been listed here are from Jacobs Institute, wherein the director Adnan Siddiqui, who's the chief medical officer who talks about from the Jacobs Institute, has to talk about the various advantages of working with the DAP printer, because the materials play a very, very important role. The gel materials plays a very important role for these aneurysms to be achieved and for the blood vessel printing. So a very interesting video that's followed up from the Jacobs Institute, and here there is quite a lot of consolidated talk which goes in this video about the medical utility, the medical application utility derived using 3D printing solutions.
The Jacobs Institute is really designed to collaborate with industry and physicians to drive innovation. We need industry to provide better tools for us to continue to what we do, which is develop tools for physicians to train and test in different clinical environments.
In an ideal world, if you wanted to practice a procedure before you actually do it on a patient, you want to replicate every element of that procedure. You want to know how the tissue is going to feel as you're delivering a device. You want to understand how all the different gadgets that you're going to use for the procedure, how will they behave in that particular anatomy.
Anatomical models that I've been seeing since I was in medical school, they really did not have any semblance of reality in terms of their behavior when you utilize them. We would rehearse device deployment, usually in silicone models with some fluid, some water, some glycerol, and it was grossly unsatisfactory.
About 5 years ago, we started working with Stratasys on what is 3D printing doing in medicine, and the JI and our partners here in Buffalo truly believe that it's the future of medicine.
My first exposure to 3D printing, it was a real sort of eye-opening experience where 3D printing, well, you print what you need for the particular task that you have, where we can now incorporate plaque within arteries and thicker walls versus thinner walls, and with fluids, make it feel real.
One of the questions we've repeatedly heard from our customers, both medical device customers as well as hospitals, is the need for biomechanical accuracy. The biomechanical accuracy that the digital anatomy printer provides is really what's differentiating this solution from anything that's on the market today.
In terms of digital anatomy printing materials, there's now gel matrix, there's tissue matrix, and there's bone matrix. They all can be used with different mechanical properties depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So the software is a really huge part of where this is all going. GrabCAD Print now allows us to really select and drop down menus certain materials on a point-by-point voxel-based approach.
GrabCAD Print really revolutionizes how we design medical models today for anatomical model. So instead of going in and saying, I want a white femur bone, we can go in and select a femur for a 70-year-old. If we want a femur for a 20-year-old, we can do that. We can vary the density of our structures on our bones. We're having third parties validate the biomechanical properties of the materials that come with the digital anatomy printer. So the Jacobs Institute, companies like Medtronic, they are conducting third-party testing to compare how those materials compare biomechanically to native tissue, to native bone, to specific anatomies and pathologies that you'd expect to see in practice.
So now we're using digital anatomy of areas and applications we've never done before. And these are things that you have to pierce, you have to cut the model. We weren't able to do that before.
The long-term goal of the digital anatomy printer is to replace the need for cadavers, to replace the need for animal studies, where it gives our customers the option of having specific anatomies and specific pathologies that are not currently accommodated by either cadavers today or animal studies. The digital anatomy solution today is only the beginning. Every year for the next 3 to 5 years, we will come out with additional materials, additional applications and software solutions that increase the capabilities of the digital anatomy printer.
The Stratasys partnership in terms of the JI mission is absolutely paramount. We would not be able to accomplish our mission without partnerships like Stratasys.
That's a complete consolidation for the various utilities that the medical world was looking forward to because of the challenges that they have come across, the limitations and the varied secondary operations that were called in, wherein the solutions such as the J750 could enhance and meet everything as a single step solution for all those challenging areas of work with the Jacobs Institute's medical requirements. And today, let us also look at manufacturing. Greater productivity and lower costs. What is manufacturing and how do they really get the enhanced benefits of working with 3D printing as a technology? So in manufacturing, let us take a quick look at the various areas where the benefit also plays a very important role.
Cardiovascular Systems manufactures an orbital atherectomy device for the treatment of both PAD and CAD. CSI is very patient-driven and patient-centric. We are always thinking, how can we improve our product? And the rapid prototyping capabilities allow us to get products to market faster.
In product development, we do a lot of front-end development. Most recently, we addressed a need that we had of a component that we were able to model in a CAD package, print on the rapid prototyping system, and then actually the next week be gathering feedback from physicians on the product.
With 3D modeling, we were able to take actual clinical imaging and recreate their coronary arteries to test our device. And with new material properties, we're able to simulate the actual elasticity of these coronary vessels, but also mix in hard calcified lesions with the harder materials. Another unique feature of 3D printing is that we're able to print clear lesions that both us and physicians can see through while treating with our device. This allows us to better explain and understand how our device works in different situations.
We're actually able to get the two-dimensional fluoroscopy images from physicians and actually try to recreate what they were seeing. And not only do we get to the bottom and learn more ourselves, but then we also are able to help build that relationship with physicians as well.
3D printing has given us the versatility to print pretty much whatever we can think of. We started 3D printing these coronary training boards. Every single one of our sales training reps that goes through coronary training was actually delivered one of those. They use those to interact with the circulating nurses, techs, physicians at their own sites and train them on proper treatment technique related to our IFU and our instructions for use. 3D printing has given us the ability to innovate rapidly. We don't have to be dependent on molding processes or machining processes. We've been able to print fixturing, case recreations, test our device from a reliability standpoint, rapid prototyping, as well as components that just help us in our everyday engineering needs.
by using rapid prototyping, it not only saves us time on the overall project, but also saves us money as well.
So, when looking at various medical models, we are talking about CSI for cardiovascular systems, and more importantly, gastrointestinal, or when we look at the bone structures, all of which can be accomplished on this single DAP printer, which means quite a lot of success for the medical fraternity and for the medical component manufacturing. So some of the medical devices manufacturing that have been in-house printed, this for GE, wherein they have been able to have this assist medical case studies, have been a true representation. GE Healthcare and various others have been adopted on the similar lines in order to develop quite a lot of hardware for their medical device manufacturing. And when we look at universities who have developed jigs and fixtures for certain specific lab and manufacturing requirements, 3D printing plays a very, very important role for cost-effective and quick turnaround time, which means quite a lot of intangible benefits that have been derived using 3D printing because of the value that it provides using biocompatible materials that could be sterilized. And these sterilized outcomes from the 3D printer can also be taken into the operation room, wherein surgical procedures are carried out with the aid of these jigs and fixtures with biocompatible materials. That is exactly how they come into specific use. And more importantly, different types of jigs and fixtures for different surgical outcomes can also be reproduced in quick turnaround time without customizable, and more importantly, with just only the digital data. You don't need any storages, or you don't need any duplicates that you need to store them and stack them up. More on the biosignal therapies, where CAST engineering again has devices that are very, very customized, and these are solutions where they have been using FDM printers to print and produce. But moving on to some of the case studies in India, we have one of the case studies again from for a 15-year-old boy. Now here they are talking about the heart chambers which were wrongly connected. Now this is a complex heart disease. So the surgeons would be better able to understand while we showcase the challenges that this boy has been facing. However, in this particular case study, the challenge was surgical decision was extremely difficult, reason being with CT and MRI, there was a limitation in understanding of the complexity. The surgical procedures, the decisions were extremely difficult to take. So in such cases, complex cases, patients are either left alone without operations, or more importantly, with only certain temporary procedures. They are given time-bound solutions that are not complete in nature, or no complete corrective measures have been employed. In such cases, 3D printed outcomes, such as a sample for this boy, has given enablement for better understanding of the given complexity. So with the 3D printed model of the heart based on the cardiac MRI, surgeons have been able to plan the surgery well with all the intricate details achieved in the 3D printed model. Here is a soft gel-like material, which is called as an Agilis material from the PolyJet technology that could be used, and that gives enablement to have soft heart models which can be planned. And more importantly, with surgical guides and blades, they'll be able to section and use this model for surgical preparation. And the other case study is of a 19-year-old boy, again, who has had a challenged heart, and this complex heart disease has been labeled as a double outlet right ventricle. So when we look at all these case studies in India, Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences in Kerala, they have evaluated in the year 2014, it's way back. So in India, again, when it comes to medical 3D printing, surgical planning, anatomies have been tried and printed well. Those days, we didn't have the flexibility to work with multi-material printers such as what Stratasys offers today. So the limiting factor of working with single or dual materials or three materials at FAR were only the possibilities. So you could see that on the image, Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences have successfully planned and executed the surgery on this patient using the 3D model. So when they are going to look at to understand the complex details, 3D printing played a very, very important and a crucial role to save these patients. Now coming back, these were teenagers or a 15-year-old case studies what we looked upon. But now we are talking about an infant. Now pediatric conditions of the heart are too very challenging. So here we are looking at a complex heart disease that's going to talk about a crisscross heart. And more importantly, to be very honest, it's very scary to look at and talk about these cases. When we talk about a 2-month infant, the challenges are far more. And wherever they have been diagnosed elsewhere, they have been just refused surgery. So Amrita Institute of Medical Science have taken up this challenging case, and with 3D printed models, the surgery was executed successfully. And I thank all those surgeons for having to adopt 3D printing in order to save valuable life. Some more snapshots with Stratasys outcomes. Here you could see that the color zones are true representations of where the cancerous zones are on a heart model, and as well as in certain areas where we are looking at a kidney model where the thymoma zone has been given a coloration, and the segmented kidney zones have also been showcased here. So well before I could conclude, I would like to summarize and sum it up in a field where innovation saves lives. Let us look at in a field where innovation saves life. 3D printing empowers doctors. This is truly important to understand. Researchers and medical device manufacturers can also have the ability to work fast, which means that they can test their devices and their outcomes well before they can get into a stage of productivity. And more importantly, they can be pretty sure that there are no iterations at a later stage. And what they decide to devise as devices, what they decide to manufacture as devices, go through directly for the next level of manufacturing. And these customized solutions for the medical applications plays a very important role. So in order to achieve all this, customization can happen like never before using additive manufacturing. And now it is time for us, well before I could thank the organizers along with Professor Rupinder Singh and the entire team, along with Dr. H.S. Bedi and the team from IITR. I would thank all of you for taking time to join this session, and we can now hear out in case if there are any questions, or probably in case if there is any shortage of time, probably we can also address your questions at a later stage if they can be sent across to us.
Thank you, Ganeshji, for this discussion. Really, many things are eye-opener for all of us to see the use of technology in the human life. Now the panel is open for discussion. Any participants can raise the query and can ask the question. If you are really interested in development of technology and using this for your research part, we basically encourage the participants to raise their questions. Ganeshji, I have 2-3 questions.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. I'm not able to hear you, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. Somebody wants to, Mr. Goyal, you can unmute yourself and can ask your query.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah.
Sir, what kind of material do we use to print these 3D models?
Well, while we talk about PolyJet as a technology or FDM as a technology from Stratasys, all these are proprietary materials that have been supported by the manufacturer. So these are materials that we call them as resin-based materials in PolyJet. Or when we talk about FDM, fused deposition modeling, these are standard industrial grades of thermoplastics. But when it comes to PolyJet, these are thermosets. See the opposite. While we talk about the two core complementary technologies offered by Stratasys, FDM uses thermoplastics, and there are multiple grades of plastics with which we can work with, starting from ABS, ASA, polycarbonate, nylon grades, Ultem grades, ULTEM, Ultem grades, and there are Ultem carbon fiber filled grades. We have PEG based material like polyether ketone, etc. But when it comes to PolyJet, For all these anatomies and for the resin-based outputs, these are called as Vero, V-E-R-O, Vero-based materials from the manufacturers. These are resins which can react to light, which means with ultraviolet light from a liquid to a solid state, the conversion happens. So these are photopolymers that are also known as thermoset resins. Reason being that once when you cast them, once when you print them, there is no way of going back of remelting them, unlike the thermoplastics in the FDM technology. So thermoset resins, all these are proprietary grades of material because the hardware, the materials, all of them are manufactured with certain specifications, and these are well controlled only with the lock-in of the proprietary grades of materials. No open source materials can work on these printers.
So my question was intended on the feeling that do these materials create an artificial environment to stimulate such kind of real-time surgical procedures? Like when we perform real-time surgical procedures, there's so much of blood and fluids involved. So these materials do give that kind of specificity, or do they kind of create such a stimulated environment for real-time surgery, sir? Hello.
Yeah, I think there is some connection issue. Okay.
No problem, sir.
Just hold on. Ganesh, can you hear us? Ganesh, can you hear us, please? Okay. I think there will be some issues with the presenter right now. Anyway.
Well, I'm unfortunate that there was a technical glitch and the connectivity was an issue because maybe of the timelines. Now I'm able to connect to you all. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir. Dr. Goyal, please ask your question again.
Sir, I was asking that I just intended to ask that these materials, do they kind of create that stimulated environment for those real-time surgeries? Like in real-time surgeries, there's so much of blood and fluids involved. So like when we are, practicing on these materials, do they, provide that same kind of specificity?
So today while we talk about anatomy printing, in a closed loop environment with the heart, today while we use the term gel matrix, gel is a standard colored material, which means that it is amberish in color. But in order to have any pigmentation of the gel matrix, you can inject a certain coloration in order to simulate a surgical procedure of a heart section. If you're going to practice for sectioning the heart model, etc. However, with the standard gel matrix material, they can give you a touch and feel, and more importantly, in a simulated environment of having the liquids to be flowing around, we can actually inject a certain colorant or you can mimic and mix colors directly on the printed model itself. So it is a near net assimilation of the surgical procedures that can be carried out. But what is more critical to understand with the DAP printing as a technology from Stratasys is, can we have the anatomy without the actual surgical realizations of the liquid or the blood that passes when we are going to cut through a certain section and simulating those properties? More importantly, can we achieve a physical anatomy that can be tabled around and understood of its complexities, are more measured in terms of value? I hope I was able to answer close to what your question is. Thank you so much for your question.
Ganesh, there is another question. Are we in position to manufacture any organ so that the costly transplantation procedure or the surgeries could be avoided?
Well, in today's scenarios, it's been quite a lot of research which has been happening in order to have certain tissues that keep growing in a soft structure, which we call it as an very complex lattice structure of a bone, etc., for tissues to regrow. but it is still not very well proven so that we can have any 3D printed output that can be directly used until and unless we talk about medical 3D printing, wherein we have certain sections of surgical models that get printed and then they can be used for surgeries. But with plastics, the limiting factor is more on pre-surgical conditions that are well addressed with.
Ganesh, can we think of a situation in which some part printed on metal, followed by some part printed with polymer, and then some part with a bio printer, like printing of biogel? So combination of three, is it feasible right now?
Well, today strategists R&D have been working on truly having certain areas on the PolyJet technology. We call it as a research process, wherein there are research packages come along with the GrabCAD printer that could allow using you to print vacuum. You can use air as a material, which means that you will have certain segmented pockets wherein you can embed certain inserts, RFID tags, etc., or a metal 3D printed component into the body of a 3D printed part. Now, these are various stages at the initial level wherein the work has been progressing on. But if there are any specific cases, we can definitely take it as a case study and move it forward to the strategist headquarters for certain trials that can be realized.
Actually, sir, the point was like, suppose I am constructing a wall in a typical construction site. So I have some pillars where I put a iron bar, then I have some RCC structure and some bricks. So let the metal part be taken care by, let us say, some SLM type technology. Then something like that with polymer with some FDM, and then this bioprinting is taking the some binding action that way. Is it feasible?
Yes, as long as there are two challenges here that we need to take into consideration. SLM as a metal printing technology can allow you to print with any metal as the primary source on which you can add furthermore material and reprint or reconstruct on a metal part. But when it comes to plastic again and metal, the surfaces have to be flat upon which you can start constructing. There should not be any curvatures or anything, because the travel of the head and the placement of material happens on a flat machined surface, number one. Secondly, bioprinting. Now there are bioprinters which can actually print of a certain specific given biotissues, etc., etc. Now, if at all, if we can print all these independently and also across the table, try to align them and assign them together as a compact hybrid assembly of multi-materials, these could be individually tried out. But as of today, metal with plastic as a overprinting has not been achieved, but we can explore if there are any possibilities and come back to you on this.
That's great. Okay. Any other participants who wants to raise some query? Regis, was really informative session, and we have seen a lot of things that are really new in this area. From the Little Chandigarh side and from the participants side, I am really thankful to you for sparing your valuable time and coming to this platform despite your busy schedule on this weekend. Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I need to thank all of you all for taking time to join, and it's an honorable position for me today to be in front of all of you, because you have been pioneering adopting and using 3D printing, and all that I am trying to do is evangelizing additive manufacturing to the next level of medical applications, or more importantly for industrial applications. We definitely look forward for many more sessions, and I welcome all of you all. If at all, if you have any further questions, to address it to me or to my team members, and we would love to get in touch with you all and work together. And we would also look forward, Professor Rupinder Singh Ji, that for any future requirements, we would be more than glad to participate and also share our experience and our product lines and present to you all on the various aspects of how additive has been revolutionizing the various industrial as well as the medical applications portfolio. Thank you so much. It's been a great honor to be in front of all of you all to present this session. It's been a valuable time spent to be remembered in a long, long time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.